This time, Kody Brown fled with his younger wife Robyn, but Mary, his other wife, caught him in the act and turned him over to the police. Then, in order to assert her legal rights, Mary went to court and asked that Kody restore all of her land. She was reassured by the police that she would win her case in court. Kody Brown believed he was smarter than everyone else. He chose to flee with Robyn, his youngest and favorite wife, after years of conflict in his other marriages. They escaped to a secluded location, far from the scrutiny of their previous existence, under cover of darkness, packed their stuff, and took money out of their secret account. Mary, however, wasn't easily duped. She had witnessed Kody's deceit and manipulation for years, and she wasn't about to give up easily. She followed them to a tiny cabin in the Highlands using her astute investigative abilities. She had a better idea than to face them right away. Rather, she subtly called the police and produced her proof, which included communications revealing Kody's scheme to cut off his other wives, property paperwork substantiating her accusations, and financial records demonstrating his unlawful transactions. The police were on the spot. Before Kody could get away, they surrounded the cabin and apprehended him. In disbelief, Robyn made an ineffective plea to the officers. Kody's plans collapsed before his very eyes when he was arrested. Mary immediately went to court after Kody was placed in jail. She made her argument while standing tall and assured. She described how she had been harmed for years, how Kody had failed to fulfill his obligations, and how he had attempted to steal from her. The judge paid close attention, and Mary won when the verdict was declared. She took back her house, her property, and her honor. Kody had nothing left but the results of his deeds. Knowing that justice had been done at last, Mary drew a deep breath as she left the courthouse. Though the Brown family had experienced some turmoil in the past, it was nothing in comparison to what was happening just now. In Robyn's living room, it began with a straightforward discussion. Kody paced back and forth, his face flushed with annoyance, while Mary, Janelle, and Christine sat rigidly on the couch. As usual, Robyn sat in silence, her gaze flitting from her husband to the other spouses. "Done, done." Kody's voice echoed through the room as he abruptly shouted, "This family has given me everything, and all I receive is betrayal." Christine crossed her arms. "Betrayal? It was you, Kody, who decided to put one wife before the others. This is what we have been telling you for years." With a sigh, Robyn finally spoke. "Kody, please just relax." Unexpectedly, he said, "Don't tell me to calm down, Robyn. I tried to keep this family together, which is why this whole mess started, and now you're all against me." Usually the calm mediator, Janelle got to her feet. "We're not against you, Kody. All we want for is respect. We are more than simply additions in your life." Kody's displeasure was apparent as he ran a hand through his hair. "All of you pretend that I'm the bad guy. Perhaps I should simply go and observe how you all function without me." Mary finally spoke after remaining silent the entire time. "Kody, you've already left us. You may not have checked out physically, but you did so emotionally a long time ago." The room was silent. Kody's face lit up with realization as he glanced at each of his wives. He had struggled for years to cling to a dream that was slipping away from him. He appeared to be on the verge of losing everything now. Robyn wiped a tear from her eye. Now what happens? Nobody knew the solution. The Browns were at the end of their rope, and there was no turning back this time. Nevertheless, Christine gazed into the horizon while sitting on the porch of her new Utah house. The piney aroma of the cold evening breeze was a pleasant diversion from the stress that had pervaded her Flagstaff life. At last, she had made the decision to leave Kody. She had been trying to make their multiple marriage work for years. She had sacrificed her happiness for their family's sake, loved him, and respected him. However, without reciprocation, love was insufficient. She had been left feeling alienated in her own marriage while she had witnessed Kody's love fade and his focus turn more to Robyn. When Kody remarked, "Christine, you knew what you signed up for," during a family gathering, with his arms crossed and an angry expression on his face, it was the last straw. You can't simply quit because you're not happy. Christine knew at that point that she could go. She would too. Months later, she was at liberty. She had launched her own company, purchased her own home, and most of all, she was content. However, a familiar automobile arrived into her driveway one evening when she was enjoying tea on her porch. Kody emerged, appearing unsure. His voice was quieter than she remembered when he murmured, "Christine." She let out a sigh. "What are you doing here, Kody?" He confessed, I wanted to talk. I never imagined you would truly follow through on your plan to leave. And I miss you now." Christine took a time to examine him. Her heart would have raced at the sound of those words once. Now, though, they resembled memories of a previous existence. She murmured softly, "Kody, it's not me that I think you miss, but the power you had over me." His shoulders slumped, and he opened his lips to protest, then stopped. She went on, "I hope you find happiness. I genuinely do. However, I have already done so." Then she turned and left Kody standing in the last of the light. Walking back into her house, Christine felt completely free for the first time in years. But as the Brown family gathered in the living room, there was a lot of excitement and sorrow in the air. Even though they were still in pain from losing Garrison months ago, it was a day of fresh starts. With her husband Caleb by her side, Maddie, the middle Brown daughter, sat holding her newborn daughter. The whole family, including her father, brothers, and mothers, watched as she got ready to reveal her child's name. Maddie inhaled deeply and turned to face her mother, Janelle, whose eyes were already shining with tears that had not yet been released. Maddie whispered, "We've decided to name her Grace Garrison Brush." The room was filled with emotion. Janelle put a hand to her mouth and sobbed quietly. She muttered, "Oh, Maddie." Despite her own emotions, Maddie grinned. "Garrison has always been my dearest buddy and guardian. In order for my daughter to always remember his generosity and bravery, I want her to bear his name." Standing in the corner, Kody Brown gave a somber nod. "He would have loved that," he mentioned in a whisper. The other siblings huddled together, some giving Maddie hugs and others just gazing at the baby with a mixture of joy and sadness. "She's going to have the best guardian angel watching over her," Christine, who is typically the sentimental one, stated after wiping away her tears. "Your uncle was a fighter, a dreamer, and a man with the biggest heart," Maddie whispered to Grace as she rocked her to sleep that night. "Little one, his name is with you, and his spirit continues to live on with it." The stars outside seemed to be grinning down at them, a little brighter. Nevertheless, despite difficulties, the Brown family had always taken pride in their unity. But their world was falling apart after years of conflict, treachery, and shifting allegiances. Finding strength in her independence, Christine had been the first to go. Janelle quickly followed since she could no longer stand Kody's partiality. After years of holding on to hope, Mary ultimately realized that she was no longer included in Kody's vision. Secrets started to come to light as the family broke up. "Kody has undisclosed financial holdings," Christine disclosed. "He allegedly manipulated family finances," according to Janelle. And a tempest broke out when Mary discovered court records that implied Kody had been preparing to cut them off long before their splits. In a shocking turn of events, the ex-sister wives were now getting ready for court action. Would they reveal Kody's plots, or would he manage to change the situation to his advantage? The once unbreakable family was now up against a legal battle that would destroy everything they had worked so hard to achieve. But it was a cool fall night in Flagstaff. Above them, fairy lights glowed like little stars as the Brown family gathered in the backyard. Children's laughter reverberated through the trees, and the aroma of barbecued food filled the air. Janelle was sitting next to Christine, holding a cup of hot tea in her hands. She grinned and remarked, "It's been a while since we all sat together like this." Christine gave a nod. "So much has changed in life." However, other things, like our affection for these children, haven't changed. After remaining silent for the majority of the evening, Mary finally spoke. I know things haven't been easy between us, but I want you both to know that no matter what, you're still my sisters. For the first time in years, she reached out and held their hands as her voice faltered a little. Robyn's eyes were watering as she held the youngest child in her lap and gazed at them. Love strengthens this family, despite its imperfections. Even though our paths may have diverged, we are fundamentally still connected. At that moment, Kody entered with a platter of freshly made s'mores for the children. He saw the women clasped together, their eyes glimmering with feelings they could not yet express. He took a seat and let out a long sigh. This family was founded on love, no matter what, and I'm hoping it always will be in some way. The crackling of the fire was the only sound to break the cozy stillness that ensued. The future was unclear and the past was scared. However, they were merely a family at that instant, in the gentle glow of the lights, imperfect but unshakable. But as Christine entered the sophisticated setting, she inhaled deeply. The open area was cozy and welcoming, the oak floors shone, and the chandeliers glittered. She thought, this is it. This marks the start of my new chapter. She was finally organizing a wedding that was about love, freedom, and happiness, not compromise, after years of hardship. Kody, meanwhile, was sitting in his big leather chair across town and massaging his temples. Everything was falling apart now because he had given one wife a version of the truth and another a little different one. He insisted, I never said that, to Robyn, his final ally. Kody, you did indeed. Robyn crossed her arms and said, you told me you were trying to work things out with Christine before she left. I was trying, argued Kody. However, she had already left. Before I had a chance, she had already made up her decision. Robyn let out a sigh. You didn't tell Mary that last week. You informed her that because Christine wasn't faithful enough, you were the one who broke things off. Kody tightened his jaw. When his remarks came back to haunt him, he detested it. Christine spun around with enthusiasm back at the venue. She said, this is perfect, to Janelle, who had stepped in to help. I feel like I can finally breathe. Janelle grinned. Christine, you are breathing. For years, you've been holding your breath in hopes that Kody will change. Christine chuckled. And we both know that's never going to happen. Kody waited in frustration and brooding at home as Christine worked out the details of her impending nuptials. His meticulously constructed tales were beginning to fall apart, and he recognized for the first time that Christine wasn't simply abandoning him. She had no intention of turning around, but after weeks of building stress, the Brown family's situation reached a breaking point in Season 19, Episode 4. Robyn decided it was time to exert pressure, both strategically and emotionally, as she felt the weight of the broken family. Robyn sat in her darkened living room at the beginning of the episode, her brows knitted as she looked through old family pictures. She missed the connection that used to bind them together. However, she was also aware that change was unavoidable. Robyn finally brought up the subject of Kody's aloof demeanor and his failing connections with his former spouses during a heated family gathering. You have to decide, Kody. She continued in a steady but emotional voice. Either you fix this, or we stop acting like everything is fine. Janelle scoffed with her arms crossed. Kody has been completely focused on you for years, Robyn. You want to play the role of the mediator now. Christine, who had left and was now observing from a distance, showed up via video call. Robyn, this family cannot be forced to reunite. She shook her head and remarked, it doesn't work like that. After being silent for the majority of the discussion, Mary eventually raised her voice. Maybe it's time to accept that we're all moving in different directions, she replied with a smile. Usually the loudest voice, Kody sounded overwhelmed. With a groan, he ran a hand over his hair. I don't know what to do anymore, he acknowledged. I love all of you, but it feels like no one wants to fight for this family except Robyn. Tears clouded Robyn's eyes. Kody, I'm not fighting for a funny cause. All I want is to avoid losing everything. The women appeared to be more at odds than before the episode ended. Christine hung up the phone with a dejected smile. Janelle left, and Mary gave Kody one last glance before leaving. Robyn sat by herself and gazed at the empty table. Her pressure had simply revealed the fractures that were no longer to be disregarded. It had not repaired anything. To be continued. Hello lovely viewers, welcome to my channel. I am Sabrina, hope your day is so well. If you like the video, don't forget to subscribe the channel.